The return of Ash's counter shield technique, Axew has evolved into Haxorus, and Iris is now Unova's champion. A lot happened in Thrash of the Titans, and details like this were easy to see, but there's hidden details such as Go's initial encounter with Iris being almost exactly the same as when Ash first met Iris. Hey Pokemon Champions, I'm Champion Blaze, and this is a breakdown of episode 65 of Pokemon Journeys, Thrash of the Titans. We'll uncover all the little hidden details and Easter eggs you might have missed during this episode. With that being said, let me know if I missed any details in the comments, and let's get started. The episode begins with Ash receiving a letter from the Unova region. It's from his old friend Iris. Iris, of course, being one of Ash's traveling companions from when he traveled through the Unova region in the Black and White series. Here we have the first hidden detail that you could miss, as this is in regards to Iris's personality. Iris has always been more of a hands-on girl when it came to learning about Pokemon and bonding with them, as shown by her distaste for school due to a myriad of circumstances. So her sending Ash an official, formal letter like this shows how she's a bit old school or old-fashioned, which perfectly ties her to her home of the Village of Dragons and to Opelucid City. Opelucid City may have two variations between the games, with one being more historic and rustic and one being more futuristic, but in the anime it's shown like a regular city, yet always felt like a more historic city. Dragons are creatures rich with history, tales, and mythology, and this detail is of course prevalent in the design of the Opelucid City gym, so it makes sense that Iris would send a letter rather than issuing her challenge via Rotom phone. Then we get the opening intro, which of course is always shortened and played around with in the dub. It begins with a shot of Leon, Chloe, Ash, and Go looking off into the distance, ready for their next adventure, and we can see a binacle on top of Leon's Charizard Jeep, Go's Cinderace and Sobble, Ash's Galarian Farfetch'd at the front, Go's Flygon, Ash's Lucario, and then Go's Aerodactyl flies into frame. And in the following shot, we get a better look at Leon's Charizard Jeep, and with the power spots surrounding them, we know this is somewhere in Galar, since only Galar can have power spots for Dynamax and Gigantamax. Another detail here is how Leon takes the Jeep off-roading here in the desert. A subtle nod to how Leon is always bad with the directions, tends to get lost, and more so will take the road less traveled. Kind of the typical guy who thinks he knows where he's going when he really doesn't. Also, in the original Japanese version of this opening, this shot of Leon driving actually extends to show a Dynamax Wooloo battling a Dynamax Galarian Yamask, and then reveals a Gigantamax Meowth, which is obviously Team Rocket. We get a quick shot of Ash and Go, then we see Ash and Go running on a Pokeball alongside various mythical Pokemon, including Hoopa, Zeraora, and Zarude, and then they grab onto Lugia's feet as it flies off. This is a reference to how Ash and Go first met at the beginning of the series, when Go was looking for Lugia to encounter it, and Ash had just battled Lugia after the raid battle. In the Japanese opening, this shot is extended to show more mythical Pokemon alongside Ash and Go, which include Mew, Celebi, Jirachi, Shaman, and Victini. We have a shot of Ash and Go at the Cerise Institute, there's a shot of Ash and Go's iconic dance, we see Ash and Go in Glimwood Tangle, next is a shot of Ash and Go from the notorious Gulpin episode, a couple shots of Team Rocket, then we have a close-up of Leon doing his signature Charizard pose from the game. But there's more to this shot, as in the Japanese version we first see Ash and Go looking at Leon with determination, since Ash's goal is to one day defeat Leon, which is why he joins the Pokemon World Championships, or PWC. Although Go doesn't really get too much inspiration from Leon in this series, so I'm not sure what he's doing here besides supporting Ash. And this close-up of Leon actually originally comes before the shot where Leon takes them driving across the desert in Galar. We then have a shot of Chloe looking at her Eevee and its potential evolutions. Then as we get to the end of the opening, we have a shot that sees a lot of mileage in the Journey's openings, being Ash and Leon clashing with Pikachu and Charizard using Thunderbolt and Fire Blast. This shot is also recreated exactly during their actual final battle at the end of the series. We then end on a pan of characters from this series, starting with Karina, who we previously saw in Kalos during Ash's normal class battle against her, then Sonia, who was the granddaughter of Professor Magnolia, who becomes a professor herself, then Bee, who was sort of a secondary rival for Ash in this series, then Wilkstrom, who helped train Ash's Galarian Farfetch'd to battle better with its leak, then Iris, who will make her official return to the series later in this episode, and lastly the man himself, Gary Oak, who was quite integral to this series for pushing Ash to finally determine the meaning of being a Pokemon Master, and pushing Go to be a better trainer throughout the trials and missions of Project Mew. And what's funny is that this shot doesn't even end the original Japanese opening. It's in the middle of the opening, followed by the shot of Leon doing his Charizard pose, so it's always interesting to see how the English dub rearranges the clips for the Western audience. We then get the opening title card for Thrash of the Titans, which is read by both Ash and Go, since they are dual protagonists of this series. Ash and Go arrive in Unova, making their second visit to the region in this series. As they arrive, we get our first look at Castelia City in ages since the episode, battling for the love of bug types. Go immediately catches Pansear and Panpour and comments how next time he wants Pansage, a neat little nod to Silence since his ace is a Pansage. Go then meets Iris, albeit unofficially, as he mistakes her for a Pokemon and attempts to catch her with a Pokeball. This knocks her out of the tree and she lands on the ground. This encounter is just the same as when Ash first met Iris in the Black and White series, where Ash also mistook Iris for a Pokemon and threw a Pokeball at her. Although, Go didn't get quite as much heat as Ash did. Iris then swings off like Tarzan in typical Iris fashion, leaving Go quite confused. This return of Iris features Aileen Stevens reprising her role as Iris for the first time in years since the end of the Black and White series in the episode Until We Meet Again. However, despite that, she was a full-time cast member for the Pokemon English dub until the Sun and Moon series in the episode Acting True to Form. Since then, she would no longer work on the English dub aside from voicing Iris in this episode. Later in the series, when we see Iris again, she's actually voiced by Iris Quiñones. Aileen Stevens doesn't just voice Iris though, she's also done the voices for Aria in Pokemon XY, Jupiter and Lyra in Diamond and Pearl, and even Elisa in Black and White, as well as some Pokemon which include Serena's Braixen and Fennekin, Lana's Poplio, and Viola's Vivian. Outside of Pokemon, she's voiced Leo and Luna from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, Tori Meadows from Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, Sora Purse from Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, and Flora and Kalshower from Winx Club. As for Iris Quiñones, beyond Iris, she's voiced Nessa in Pokemon Twilight Wings and Rita in New Pokemon Snap. Outside of Pokemon, she's known for voicing Crested Porcupine and Kimono Friends, Mirko from My Hero Academia, Yelena from Attack on Titan, and Hinatsuru from Demon Slayer. We've now arrived at the Opelucid gym, and Ash immediately notices an Axew walking in front of the gym. He believes it to be Iris's Axew when in actuality, it's Drayden's Axew. I like this little detail in Fake Out as it sets up the eventual surprise that Iris's Axew has actually evolved into a mighty Haxorus. The narrator tells us Drayden is not only the leader of the Opelucid gym, but the president of the Opelucid Academy and Iris's mentor. Opelucid Academy, of course, is where Iris used to study before running off to the Village of Dragons, since school really wasn't her style. And this specific shot here comes from when Iris battled Drayden in the episode Drayden vs. Iris, past, present, and future. Drayden is voiced by Mike Pollock. On top of voicing Drayden, he's also been the anime's narrator for a time during the Advanced Generation, as well as Charon from Team Galactic. He's also voiced Pokemon such as Volcanion and Biff's Shuckle. Butch's Shuckle. Outside of Pokemon, he's voiced Dr. Eggman from Sonic X, Arthur Hawkins and Crump from Yu-Gi-Oh!, Chancellor Bonaparte from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and Helga from Dinosaur King. Ash rushes to the battlefield and is greeted by Emolga as the lights come on. We then finally get a return of Iris as she sports her new champion attire coming directly from her outfit in the games Black 2 and White 2, where Iris is the champion in those games. Then when Drayden speaks of how Iris trained hard to become Unova's new champion while trying to become a Dragon Master, we see Claire, the Blackthorn City gym leader, inserted into the frame, as well as Gible and Agudra. Claire here is a nod to Iris meeting Claire towards the end of her travels with Ash, where they helped Claire catch a shiny Druddigon. But more importantly, it serves as a reference to the special episode Iris received where she traveled to Blackthorn City after saying goodbye to Ash so she could challenge Claire to a battle to become stronger. It's also during that episode where we see Iris develop more as a Dragon Master by bonding with a Gible, helping it out, and eventually catching this Pokemon. Would have been nice to see that Gible in this episode. As for the Gudra, I'm not sure why that's here. Iris doesn't own a Gudra at this time. If anything, maybe it's here because several high-class trainers use Gudra on their teams, like Ash, Raihan, and Diantha. Ash exclaims how he's all fired up for a battle against the Unova champion. Iris responds, of course, by calling Ash a little kid since he always gets fired up from battling. Of course, this being a nod to how Iris annoyingly would always call Ash a little kid throughout the Black and White series. And then she responds by saying she's not a little kid, she's the champion, which I just thought was a funny rebuttal. But this would also make Iris the youngest Pokemon champion in the world aside from Ash. This also makes Iris the strongest trainer out of all of Ash's companions. They declare the battle will be a head-to-head battle of Dragon types, and Ash sends out Dragonite. Iris is ecstatic that Ash caught his own Dragonite. Iris and Dragonite hug each other, and Iris uses her power to sense Dragon type's feelings to understand Dragonite's nature, saying it's super sweet. The battle is about to begin, and Iris and Ash both send out their Dragonite, but there's a subtle difference between the two of them beyond their personalities and dispositions. Both Dragonite have different designs for their eyes. Ash's Dragonite has a more classic design for the eyes, while Iris's Dragonite has a modern design for her character eyes in the Pokemon. Nice attention to detail here for these Pokemon. And then right before the battle begins, Iris paraphrases her in-game dialogue from before her champion battle in Pokemon Black 2 and White 2. Originally she says,
"You know, I've really been looking forward to this battle for a long time. Yeah, I have too. I thought if I could pit us against you and your Pokemon, then my Pokemon and I could get stronger and we could understand each other even more. Then let's give it everything we've got. Okay, let's go!"
But in-game her full quote is, "Know what? I really look forward to having serious battles with strong trainers. I mean, come on, the trainers who make it here are the trainers who desire victory with every fiber of their being, and they are battling alongside their Pokemon that have been through countless difficult battles. If I battle with people like that, not only will I get stronger, my Pokemon will too, and we'll get to know each other even better. Okay, brace yourself. I'm Iris, the Pokemon League champion, and I'm going to defeat you. The battle begins and Iris starts off with a ferocious assault from Dragonite using Dragon Rush, and it's really quick, but I love the reaction from Ash's Dragonite. She's immediately frightened and shocked at the ferocity and power of Iris's Dragonite. Just a very nice attention to detail to showcase how different these two Dragonite are. We then get a clash between Thunder Punch and Dragon Claw, and after the two attacks collide, we get yet another demonstration of the difference between these two Dragonite. After the impact, Ash's Dragonite seems to have taken more damage and or seems more hurt. In contrast, Iris's Dragonite may have taken the same amount of damage, but it doesn't show it. It keeps a tough and strong demeanor since it's a strong battler, and you see this in the faces of both Dragonite. The two dragons then clash with Hurricane and Ice Beam, which blows a hole in the ceiling, and Drayden's just like, nah, don't worry about it, I just want to see a great battle. Cool, Drayden, real chill. They then exchange Dragon Rush for Dragon Claw, which knocks Ash's Dragonite to the ground. He then recalls Dragonite and sends out Dracovish. This is Dracovish's first official battle, and let's just say this will be controversial to say the least. Dracovish bites Ash's head, which is very reminiscent of James's Victory Bell and Carnivine, as well as Ash's Gibble. Dracovish counters Dragon Rush with Fishious Rend and follows up with Ice Fang. This powerful combo is enough to take out Dragonite. It's also worth noting that during this battle, we see Iris's Dragonite use all of its moves except for Flamethrower. Following Dragonite's defeat, Iris sends out her ace partner, Haxorus. After all this time, her little Axew has evolved into a mighty Haxorus. With Haxorus on the field, Iris uses a quick onslaught of Dragon Pulse and Psycho Cut to quickly subdue Dracovish. Dragonite comes back out, but is still dealing with the damage from its previous battle. Ash then uses his Dragon Dance Dragon Claw combo to attack Haxorus, this being the same combo he used against Karina's Mega Lucario. Haxorus blocks the attack using Outrage and then strikes down Dragonite, but it then becomes confused, leading to another neat hidden detail. To escape the confusion, Haxorus bashes its head into the ground. A similar measure taken by Gladian's Lycanroc was used in Sun and Moon. Ash then tells Dragonite it can still win and that he's sure it has lots of fight left in it. Dragonite lets out a mighty roar, but Iris can see through this, so Iris uses her Talk no Jutsu, her dragon power, to understand how Dragonite is feeling. She gets through to her, saying that she just needs to have more fun. Having fun in a battle is the most important thing, and to let Ash have more fun too, which is kind of ironic since Ash is usually the one who would say something like this and give this advice. Just goes to show how much Iris has actually grown. Dragonite gets back into the battle and meets Breaking Swipe with Dragon Claw and then deflects Psycho Cut using Hurricane, but it uses it in quite a peculiar way. It uses Hurricane on itself to create a barrier. This spinning defense tactic is the return of Ash's patented counter shield technique that he first developed to use against Fantina in the Hearthome Gym. It then uses this technique to pull in Haxorus' Dragon Pulse to turn it into a powerful Draco Meteor attack. This devastating power finishes Haxorus, winning Ash the battle. But the way Ash's Dragonite learns Draco Meteor actually might be a reference to Iris's in-game counterpart. In Pokemon Black, Iris can teach Draco Meteor to a Dragon-type Pokemon with a high level of friendship. Ash's Dragonite is already super friendly, and of course friendly with Ash and Iris, so essentially this battle helped boost Dragonite's friendship to the point where it was able to harness the power of Draco Meteor. With the battle over, Ash ranks up to 99 to enter the Ultra class, and Ash and Iris shake hands, looking forward to the next time they can battle. And of course, Iris closes the episode with the classic salutation from the black and white anime, which is to say best wishes when saying goodbye. This was an amazing battle with lots of references and hidden details, but to see even more hidden details in other battles, why not check out my breakdowns of Ash vs Leon or Lance vs Leon, and comment below which Easter eggs were your favorite. Until next time, train hard and I'll catch you guys later.